So I remember when I was younger, when I first come across Facebook. To me, it was mind blowing. It was this magic tool that I'd found where I could connect with mates of mine who I'd spent all day at school with. You know what I mean? But you couldn't stay in contact enough. You had to keep talking, and come the weekends, summer holidays, whatever. Even though I've been down the park playing football with them, whatever, it was great just to be able to get back and then just chat with each other. And it was such a fantastic tool, one that I used extensively when I was younger. Not only that, it kind of a lot of my family live hundreds of miles away, so to be in contact all of a sudden over the internet, to be able to share pictures, see what people are doing with the lives, people you care about, was incredible to me. I also had some mates who had left the school I was at and moved away, and it was a great tool to stay in contact with them. I loved it. I wasn't the kind of guy who was constantly on it. I was always out doing something, but it was at home. When you got home in the evening and you were unwinding, you could connect with people you've not spoke to for a long time. And I thought it was a fantastic tool. So I want to say that to start with. I'm not saying that social media is all negative, a completely negative thing that has never had anything positive in my life. I enjoyed using it. That enjoyment didn't last for too long because I would rather actually see my mates rather than talk to them via a computer screen, you know what I mean, or via pictures and text. Because one thing I have found is writing stuff in text form can be misconstrued. Sarcasm can be taken for you being real and all that stuff. So social media it has the power to do good, but especially in today's age, there are a lot of negative side effects that I found that come from social media. So that's what this episode is going to be about tonight. If this is your first time watching this, this is a channel where I talk a lot about men's mental health, because this is something that means a lot to me. It's something that has affected me. And I know I speak with a lot of people who social media does have a negative effect on their mental health. For all the positive that it can do, there is definitely a negative side to it. And as I said, men's mental health is something that I hold deep to my heart for various reasons. So that's what this episode's going to be about tonight. If you find this content enjoyable, you find it informative, then please subscribe, hit the notification bell so you know next time a video is coming out. I'm going to try to put one out a week. I'm a new father, so it's going to be difficult over the next few weeks. I am very sleep deprived, but enough of my problems. This is the Mancast, and thank you so much for watching. So, to get into tonight's episode, like I said, going to be talking about social media, or as I'm labelling it on the title, I believe, anti-social media, because it does feel like it has become like that. There are the connection side of stuff, speaking with people you care about. I love all that, and it was I'm sure it was a tool that was brought to made to bring people closer together. The less time that we actually spend seeing people and the more time we spend talking with people online, we're more connected than ever, but in my opinion, more isolated than ever. I don't think 2020 and the virus and everything that happens and the lockdowns, and that did not help the connection. We were kind of forced online at that stage. And for the 10, 20 years previous, we'd done a lot of stuff online, so it should have been easy. Having that personal connection where you meet someone, being able to look in the whites of their eyes, actually understand the difference between someone being serious or someone taking a piss and having a laugh. That is lost online. At least that's what I find. Someone can write something and being a little cheeky git about it, like, you know what I mean, having a bit of a laugh. But when you've not seen someone for a little while, you kind of forget what their humour may be. You don't notice the subtleties in what they're saying. And it makes it difficult to understand the nuances in what people are saying. And honestly, from what I've seen, it's made us a poorer society for it. We can't have a laugh anymore, because if you say something, you must mean it. And once it's there in black and white, you said it, you meant it, irrelevant of what your true intentions were. So I want to bring up some articles tonight about the pitfalls of the internet, but also there are some positives. And I always try, and no matter how much I might do down a certain thing that I'm talking about, I will try and find the positives, if not specifically about that, but positives to deal with that. So first article I'm bringing up is, how does social media affect mental health, and are we better off online? That's it's a question I found myself asking a lot. It's a question I've asked a lot of people who are saying, I go online, it's just constant abuse or arguments, or do we need to be online? It does have some real positive sides, but you do start thinking, was the internet a good invention? Were we ready for it as a species? Or was it something that was invented before we were ready for it? I'm struck, like, I go back to the film Men in Black, which is completely random, I know, but there's a bit where, if you've not seen the film, spoilers, but bloody hell, how old is it? Go and watch it, it's a good film. Where Will Smith is talking with Tommy Lee Jones, and Will Smith says, but people are smart. And Tommy Lee Jones says, no, a person is smart, but people are irrational. I can't remember exactly what he says, but it's, as a collective, we don't use our brains. We kind of followed the hive mind, and that is what the internet has unfortunately brought to us. And a lack of independent thinking is something that is you're in one camp or the other. You cannot think for yourself and stand by yourself. And That's what I found anyway. So let's go into this article. Are we better off online? So to go through it, social media has become an integral part of modern life, profoundly impacting how people connect, communicate, and consume information. We're constantly on our phones. Even when you don't realize you are. You'd be amazed just how much time you spend on your phone. As its influence grows, researchers and mental health professionals have increasingly focused on understanding its effects on psychological well-being, which I'm sure when it was created was something that was not given much thought to. Studies have shown that social media usage can significantly impact mental health, with both positive and negative consequences. On one hand, these platforms provide opportunities for self-expression, community building, and an access to valuable resources. They can foster a sense of belonging and offer support networks for individuals facing challenges. However, excessive social media use has been linked to various mental health concerns. Constant exposure to curated online personas can lead to unrealistic comparisons, feelings of inadequacy, and reduced self-esteem. Additionally, the pressure to maintain an online presence and the fear of missing out, FOMO, can contribute to anxiety and stress. As social media continues to evolve, it remains crucial to understand and manage its impact on mental well-being. When I'm going back to Facebook, because that was basically the first one that came out. Facebook was great. You've achieved something at school or in your job, or you see all the time someone has a new baby, or someone's pregnant, or someone's getting married, promotion, whatever it may be. Boom, straight on Facebook. And it's great. It's great to see people you care about doing well. It's also a great way for a bit of a humble brag. Look what I've done. I've done this. We kind of become our own media, if that makes sense. We are curating our perfect lives online, our own personas online. We're no longer concerned about what your neighbour may think of you or your workmate may think of you. You're more concerned about how you appear online, portray your best life. We're all guilty of it. I know we are, and not one person who would be watching this, and I include myself, we want to appear the best we can be. We're human beings at the end of the day. We compete with one another. We used to compete for food, when we were hunter-gatherers, it was a competition, go and get that food, it's kind of built within us. We play sports where the intention is to win and to make sure you beat the other side. No matter how close you may be with someone, you want to one-up them. Maybe that's just a bloke thing, maybe that's just a me thing, I don't know, but I haven't spoken to a lot of mates, like, we all do it. We do. Someone put something up on Facebook. I'm going to Facebook because that was the original one. It was, have you seen this? So-and-so's done X, Y, and Z. So I need to do X, Y, and Z squared. or they think they've done X, Y, and Z, but their Y is a bit iffy, innit? Like, you know what I mean? That constant back and forth. And that was when we were connected with people we know. The internet is such a powerful tool where you are connected with the entire world. Celebrities that we used to look at through basically a telescope are now under a microscope. So they are portraying their perfect lives. Difference is they have a lot more money and a lot more people who can, they have social media managers and stuff who can help them promote their perfect life. And you're comparing yourselves to them, and I'm going to get into this later in the video with some of the articles I brought up. But it becomes less about using it for enjoyment, but more about beating everybody else. And if you can't beat them, then you beat yourself, and you beat yourself down. And that is what I found more and more social media seems to be doing to so many people. It's a power for good. It's a tool for good. I know charities and just great movements, great organisations who will use social media to accentuate their grasp, really highlight what they're doing and get more interest in it. And social media is fantastic for that. But with the good, unfortunately, does come the bad. And unless we actually understand and realise that it comes with negative as well as positive reactions, and unless we address that, we're going to constantly be beating ourselves up. And I think I've already said, I'm fully aware I'm posting this on social media. I know that, I'm not doing social media down. I just think we forget sometimes that this is not real life. Social media is not real life. The internet is not real life. It is a tool, and any tool, when used appropriately and effectively, can be a tool for good. Pardon me. But if we do not use that tool appropriately, you can use a power drill. I'm an engineer by trade. I used to use drills, angle grinders, all sorts of stuff that if you do not use it properly, it'll take your hand off. Use it properly. It's a brilliant tool to get that job done. We need to view social media, we need to view the internet in the same way. And we need to take responsibility for ourselves, and then personally sometimes say, do we need it, and take a little break. Because if it's not doing you any good, then what is the good in it? If it's not a positive effect in your life, do you need it? So next page I want to bring up is this is one that is close to my heart, and one that I speak with a lot of people about. One that I fell victim to myself. One that I found myself chasing, that perfect life, because that's what you see your mates, family members, people you know, or celebrities, or casual strangers who you happen to start talking to online, and you think, they've got it right. They've got their head screwed on. Their life is moving in the right direction, and they're making moves, and I don't seem to be. Which is a lot of the time BS. A lot of the time it is. But you have to, I think sometimes you have to dig a lot deeper to realise that a lot of the persona that is put on by influencers, I suppose you call them, but not only them, just people that you know casually. They're putting on the perfect life, but it's crap. But it does have an effect on you, because then you start comparing yourself, and that leads to a downward spiral, one that you can never compete with. So, social media and the perfect life syndrome, and breaking free from unrealistic standards. So, social media has transformed the way we connect, communicate, and consume information in a lot of positive ways, but a lot of negative too. So, platforms like Integra, TikTok, Facebook provide endless opportunities for self-expression and global connectivity. Yet beneath the surface of scrolling and liking lies a pervasive issue: the perfect life syndrome. This phenomena refers to unrealistic and idealized portrayals of life that dominate social media, fostering a culture of comparison, self-doubt, and unattainable expectations. We are our own harshest critics. That's what I found with myself, definitely, but people I speak to, people I care about, mates of mine, we can't wait to beat ourselves up. And when you see someone doing better than you, especially online when you're not following these people 24/7, they're not putting up the bad stuff. It's always the positive stuff in the positive light with the filters on. Life is magic, which a lot of the time is crap. So as users navigate the digital world, the curated perfection of influencers, celebrities, and even peers can profoundly affect mental health and self-perception. To break free from these unrealistic standards, we must examine the roots of the perfect life syndrome, its psychological toll, and actionable solutions for a healthier digital landscape. So, the curated reality of social media, which is something I've already touched on. Social media operates as a highlight reel, and it really is a highlight reel. As I already said, like I've just had my wife has just given birth to our third child. If you were to look on her Facebook, you have a beautiful little girl. Looks healthy, looks happy, looks so peaceful. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. What people don't see from the Facebook post is how there were severe complications, how my child was treated for sepsis when she was born, how not picked up on any of the scans throughout the pregnancy. There were 2 knots tied in her umbilical cord, and it was a miracle she got the food, the nutrition that she needed to actually survive. How when she was born she looked like a Smurf because she was as blue as the lights behind me. How she sleeps during the day and looks so peaceful, and then at night all she wants to do is cry and wake you up and scream. None of that gets shown. All you see is a beautiful little child. Life is good. None of those terrifying things that we went through for the 6 days in a special care unit, where the first couple of days was touch and go, where we're petrified, where myself and my wife get home and all the emotions finally get too much and you see tears and arguments over nonsense, and just that pent up emotion finally comes out. You don't see that on Facebook. You see a beautiful little girl. And that's what Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, that's what you see on these social media platforms, is a highlight reel. It's not a deep dive, and I know I'm talking about social media right now, but these reality TV programs, what a crock. You want some reality, I don't watch reality TV programs, but I've never heard of someone saying, I got the 2 bob bits today, like, you know what I'm saying? I'm shitting for the eye of a needle. You don't hear that. You know what I mean? You don't hear bloody hemorrhoids, or I got a headache, or my kid's a bit little, whatever. You don't. These reality TV programs that are as fake as you like, you don't see none of that. It's a polished image that is portrayed, that comes across. I think that's probably why there's been an increase in people watching or listening to podcasts, because it's more real, it's more raw. If you listen to me, I don't give a damn. I just say how it is, and if you don't like it, don't care, turn off. That's how I am, and maybe that's why I'll never get big doing it, because I'm not polished. I am that unpolished turd. I don't care. But you will get the truth from me. And I think the more truthful we can be, and you're not asking people to just constantly pour their guts out and X, Y, and Z, but just a hint of reality along with it would be, for me, helpful for society. When people can look and say, I'm feeling that too. Oh, well, I'm glad you said that. I thought it was just me. On the other side, if you need a little bit of help, people can be like, I know where you are right now because I've been through that. And well done for saying it. Actually being truthful and honest can start those conversations. So, as I already said, social media operates as a highlight reel. Best moments of people's lives while omitting the mundane or challenging aspects. Posts are carefully curated, often edited with filters and photo enhancing tools to present an idealized version of reality. This creates a digital facade where vacations can seem endless. I don't think I've actually, especially when I've gone abroad, especially as a family, and I include my extended family in that, I don't think I've had an enjoyable holiday abroad. The photos look good though. They do. Relationships appear flawless. The way I view it, if you don't have an argument, I'm not saying start an argument, but if you and your partner never have an argument, you probably never talk. You know what I mean? And every achievement is celebrated in grand style. These created realities are amplified by algorithms that prioritize visually appealing and emotionally engaging content. This means that polished, aspirational posts are more likely to go viral, reinforcing the illusion that perfection is not only desirable but also attainable. My arse. I brought out my royal family impression and my arse. The influence of social media stars, influencers and celebrities hold significant sway over social media culture. With access to professional photographers, stylists and editing tools, their posts often present a standard of living that is out of reach for the average user. But they like to dangle it in front of you and say, you can do this too. Yeah, with your money I'm sure I could. And your social media managers, okay. These figures monetize their aspirational content, blurring the line between authenticity and advertising. As a result, users internalize the belief that happiness, success, and beauty are tied to material wealth and physical perfection. And then the power of peer pressure. Unlike traditional media, social media involves not only celebrities but also friends, family and acquaintances. Seeing peers post about achievements, luxurious vacations or picture perfect moments can invoke feelings of inadequacy. I'm not giving traditional media a let off here, because like I said, they're the ones that promote all the reality TV garbage and all that nonsense, and I think you just need to focus on your own life. And one thing I say to my kids, one thing that I have also said to mates of mine, to my wife, people I care about, genuinely care about, is to hell with everyone else. Genuinely to hell with everyone else. What you want to do, instead of looking at someone and aspiring to be them, aspiring to live their lifestyle, trying to get onto their pedestal that is 99% of the time complete BS. Look at where you are. And this is how, it's not how I used to, but it's how I look at life now. Look at where you are. And tomorrow try and be better. And if you're better the next day, then look at where you are then. And the next day, try and be better. And it might be a fraction of 1%. But if you're moving the right way, to hell with everyone else. Comparison does not help. Comparing yourself to someone else does not help you mentally, does not help you physically, financially. It's a load of crap. You know, you got this, congratulations, whatever, hope you're happy. But this is where I am, and tomorrow I want to be slightly better. I want to be a better version of myself. I'm not saying you can't get inspiration from other people, and you see people who, I don't know, maybe someone's been extremely overweight and they have, by their own hard work, lost weight, or someone has been financially destitute and has worked their way up, and there are so many inspirational stories out there. By all means, look at those inspirational stories and be inspired, hence why they're inspirational. But don't compare yourself to them, compare yourself to yourself. That's the way I view life now. I try to make myself a better person. I'm a flawed human being, as every human being who has ever existed has been. But I'm still trying to improve myself by comparing myself to how I used to be. And I think I personally have found that a very important thing for me. I just want to be a better version of me. I can't be Brad Pitt. I can't be Jason Statham. I can't be whatever celebrity you want in after that. I can't be them. They are them. I am me. So I am actively trying to be a better version of me. Actively trying to be the best version of me. But you're never going to be perfect, which means you've always got something to strive for. But as long as you are improving as a person, or at least striving to improve as a person, you're going the right way. And that's where, like I said, with social media, I used to enjoy it. I don't enjoy it anymore because it is people either portraying their perfect life or other people trying to do other people down, and I try and stay off the internet as much as I can, especially when it comes to actually interacting with people. I read articles, I'm forever watching videos, trying to learn stuff, better myself intellectually. And I'm a critical thinker. You know, I do think for myself, and if I read something I think, I don't know, it doesn't sound right, I will actually actively try and find other articles to either back up what I've read or counteract it and come to my own opinion, because I'm my own person. I do think with the internet, I was going to say it's a hive mind mentality. What I found is it's not a hive mind mentality. It's a several hive mind mentalities, and you are in one camp or the other. And I'm not gonna go into the complete minefield, the complete shit show of the current arguments that are going on you on this side or that side, and it's one of the other. I don't care. I'm my own person. It's not to say I don't care about certain things that are going on in the world, but I'm not going to be blindly in one camp or the other. I'm going to be in my camp, my family's camp, my friends' camp, my own personal life's camp. And there are things I'm passionate about, things I care about. And there are things that I'm like, do you know what? I don't even know enough. So just because someone I know is passionate about it, I don't know enough, and that's their deal. It's not mine. And still be friends with them. Can't do that on the internet anymore. It seems you're either all in or you're against them. It's a crazy place. It's like the Wild West on the internet, and not in a good way. Bring back the Cowboys. You know, some of the films are great. But honestly, it's as I said at the start of this video, mental health is men's mental health in particular is something I am passionate about, and it is something I will bang on about, and it's something I'm knowledgeable about. In the UK, tragically, one man takes their own life every 2 hours. That is something I really care about. It's biggest killer of men under 50 or 54, 52. It changes all the time, but around that age, as a man under that age, the biggest threat to myself is myself. That nearly happened to me. It happened to a friend of mine. If you've watched previous episodes, I've spoken very openly and candidly about that. So when it comes to mental health, men's mental health, it's something I'm passionate about. And when I see something that affects people I know, people that I care about, I'm going to speak up about it. And I know social media and the internet does play such a massive part in everyone's life. You can't really avoid the internet now. Everything is internet based. But it's how to navigate that shit show. And it is. It is a shit show. How to navigate that in a positive way, where you can take the positive aspects and ignore the negativity and just the sheer vileness that is online. And how there used to be a time you could disagree with someone but do it in a respectful way. Now it seems kind of you're either with me or against me. Okay. I don't like that. And I've never really been like that. You know, I'm someone who can have a bit of banter with someone, have a disagreement, an argument, and then go buy them a pint at the bar, and then we'll have a game of pool. I miss those days. Life was simpler when you could disagree with someone, but still get on with them. Now it's, you're on my side or against me. That's helping no one. So this is an older article. It's a couple of years old. June 12, 2023, so just over 2 years old. This was on Men's Health Week, and it's men's health in the internet age. So in today's fast-paced and demanding world, discussions surrounding mental and physical health have gained significant traction. For men's health in 2023, the Men's Health Forum are focusing on how the internet is impacting the health of men across the country. Because it is having an effect, and I have conversations with people all the time and constantly saying the internet's not real. It's not real life. Although the creation of the internet has revolutionized the way we live and communicate, there are also concerns about its impact on our well-being, particularly in the context of mental health. The rise of the internet and digital technologies has led to increasingly sedentary lifestyles, as hours spent sitting in front of screens for work, gaming, or binge-watching shows has contributed to a lack of physical activity. Now, just as a sidetrack with that, on a future episode, I'm going to be discussing physical health, because it does play a part with regards to mental health. It does. And not for everyone, I know, but for a lot of people, the more active you are, the more physically fit and strong you become. The having goals of maybe losing weight, or maybe gaining weight, or gaining muscle, or having a goal that you are striving to achieve can have such a positive effect on your mental health as well. So, on a side note, bravely or stupidly, I have signed myself up to have a charity boxing match in a couple of months. I love the fitness side of it. I hope I don't get punched in the face too much, but it's great to give yourself goals. That's something I have found for myself, and again, when I deep dive into this, I'm hoping to have a mate of mine on who has done a charity boxing match himself and get his thoughts and feedback on that. So that's a side note. Back to the article. So, where did I get to? Although the creation, read that bit. Sedentary lifestyles, according to a report from the Office for Health Improvements and Disparities, around 1 in 3 men are not active enough for good health. The inactive lifestyle can lead to various health issues such as obesity, heart disease, and diabetes. Encouraging men to incorporate physical exercise into their daily routines, setting limits on screen time, and promoting active hobbies can mitigate the negative effects of prolonged internet use on physical health. Men's mental health can also be significantly impacted by their internet usage. The constant accessibility of online platforms can lead to addictive behaviors and a sense of digital dependence. Excessive use of social media can contribute to feelings of inadequacy, anxiety, and depression. As individuals compare themselves to curated online personas, it's estimated that average UK users spend nearly 2 hours on social media per day. That's a scary thought to think that we are, bearing in mind a lot of people will go to work, spend 8, 9, 10 hours a day at work. We have family, friends, we want to do social activities, and yet we spend nearly 2 hours a day on average on our phones or on our computers comparing ourselves to other people. That makes no sense to me, and you can see why there's such an issue. Social media platforms make it very highly addictive. You want, mentioned it earlier in this, FOMO, fear of missing out. You don't want to not be online and then find out something's happened. So you are constantly checking out what's going on, and so-and-so's had a baby, how's the baby getting on, blah, 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 which is great. And, that's a real positive side of it. But as I already said, I've literally just had a baby, and it was bloody awful. But you look at Facebook, my wife's Facebook, I don't use that platform anymore. Myself personally, I found it very detrimental to myself. Do not like it. And I know for a lot of people it's fantastic. For me, it was just a net negative. But my wife's Facebook would be just beautiful pictures of my newborn child, my 2 older children, cuddliness, smiles. There wasn't a picture, I've not looked because I don't go on Facebook, but I can pretty much guarantee that there was not a picture of my newborn child with an oxygen mask on and feeding tubes in, and my 9-year-old daughter in floods of tears, worried sick. I can guarantee that, because no one's going to post something like that where, you might have the odd picture where she's doing well and, these things are in, but everything's good, it's positive. There wasn't a picture of my 9-year-old in floods of tears, me white as a ghost. Me cuddling my 9-year-old because she's in bits. You wouldn't have got pictures of that, because it doesn't make for good content, does it? Although it's real, although it's honest, although it's actually what's happening right there and then. No one's gonna post a picture of that. No one's gonna. Once you've had a new baby, say, I had an hour's sleep last night and I feel that tired, I feel like throwing up. That's a real thing as well. I'd tell you that. If you're watching this, you're not had a kid, when you are that sleep deprived, not for one night, but when it's a constant thing, you feel sick when you wake up. It's a disgusting feeling. It's like, I'm sure the first zombie film, when that was first thought up, it was someone who just had a kid. Like, generally, because that feeling, you are not human no more. Those first couple of weeks, you are not human. And when you are living off 1, 2, if you're lucky, 3 hours sleep a night, especially when you got other kids, you're like, wow, I feel ill. But then you're on the go because you got other kids. And then you're constantly on the go. And then you go to bed at night thinking, I need to sleep because I'm going to be up in an hour's time. But you can't sleep. It's torture. It's torture. And, you know, maybe we don't need to be posting this stuff online, you know, about how bad it can be. And you want to highlight the positives, of course you do. But I think it's very important when you see something positive to look past the positive pictures. Especially, I'm using the new kid one because it's something that it's fresh in my mind right now. But when you see people who've had new kids, if you've had a child yourself, say, yeah, they might be posting the positive, but have a smile on your face and say, I know how shit you feel right now, and I hope you're doing well, but I know you're feeling shit. I know you're struggling for sleep. I know you feel sick every time you wake up because you are that tired. I know you just want to break down into tears. And here's a happy time. If you need anything, come see me. But yeah, mugging me off saying that everything's all perfect, because it ain't. And have that little laugh to yourself and say, yeah, social media, 99% of it is BS. It's a perfect spin that we are all guilty of putting on everything we post. We want to portray ourselves as living that perfect life. I personally don't think there is such a thing as a perfect life. You know, the perfect life, to me, is your life when you are making the best of it. That's the way I see it. I used to compare myself to other people, and there's still a level of that goes on because we're all human. But I try to focus on myself now and compare myself to who I used to be. And then tomorrow try and be better than I am today. I guess that's the important message I'm trying to portray here is, as we've become more connected, we are more isolated, and we are more focused on... We focus on what everyone else is doing in a positive or a negative way. And we either strive to be someone else, or we aim to knock that person down a peg or two. Instead of looking at the other person, focus on yourself. Focus on those around you, you know, the people who actually matter. You know, I can... if I was to get in an argument with someone, say I was on X, and I posted, I don't know, a political statement of some description, and then I ended up with, I don't know, 50 likes and 50 whatever, you know, 50 people who agreed, 50 people who disagreed. Those 50 people who disagreed could be scattered all over the world, could be all ages, people I'd never meet in my life. Honestly, to those people who disagreed with me actually matter. But more than that as well, those 50 people who agreed with me, scattered all over the world, people I'll never meet, their opinions actually really matter. And honestly, once I turn off my phone or shut down my laptop, does it really bloody matter what's said on X or on Facebook or on Instagram? Or what matters to me is I put my kids to bed and I read them a bedtime story. I cuddle my wife at night, give her a kiss goodnight. You know, these are the things that actually truly matter. And Liverpool, you know, watching football. You know, the things I enjoy in life, my hobbies, you know, watching football, watching boxing, playing golf, whatever it may be. Those hobbies that I genuinely, truly enjoy. That's what matters to me. Not some bloody spat online or some story that I've seen on the news or read, and you know, unless it directly affects me, I just tend to embrace my family and my life, my mates, try and find the most enjoyment I can, because life is short. Life is short. So I guess what I'm saying is the internet is it's a tool for good. It can be, but it is a shit show. It is the Wild West. And I think sometimes we are all guilty of putting too much emphasis on what's being said online, and oh no, someone said a naughty word or a hurty word, or they've hurt my feelings. Yeah, it can have an effect. I know that, I'm not belittling it. But enjoy life. Life is short. And the internet is not real life. There is one last quick article I want to bring up, and this is a Substack, which I actually thought was quite... I read it and I thought it really hit the nail on the head. So it's one I wanted to finish with and just bring up because I liked it. When I was doing a bit of research for this video tonight, I come across this one. I thought, I want to finish with this. So as I said, this is a Substack by and Jerry Walters. Jerry Woodnice, or I believe that's the guy's name. Why the internet feels so broken and how we can fix it. And what I like is the word that they've apparently is in Macquarie. It was Macquarie's Dictionary Word of the Year. And shitifaction. I feel so good saying that. And shitifaction. I like it. So this was November last year. So congratulations, Corey Doctorov, for giving us the perfect word to describe the slow, grinding collapse of everything we once loved about the internet. I once believed the shitifaction of the internet was purely the fault of big tech companies, the Googles, Metas, and OpenAIs of the world, squeezing our attention for profit while pretending to care. Newsflash, they don't. And they've got plenty to answer for. But it's not just them. I'm going to say it again. Really emphasize this because I love this word. And shitifaction is what happens when no one moderates what we value. Left unchecked, it piles up like a fat berg of intellectual junk, choking the flow of ideas and connection, until everything stagnates and rots. Still, even that doesn't fully explain why everything feels so off. Why does it feel like we've been swept away by some invisible current, carried so far from where we started that we can no longer see the shore? Again, a shitifaction isn't just an internet problem, it's a symptom of how far we've drifted from one another. It's everywhere on people's faces, the collective "what the happened" expression. It's not just the internet, it's everything. The world we once knew doesn't seem to have a space for us anymore. So many people I know talk about feeling unmoored, like the shared values that anchored us were cut loose and sank before we could catch them. The long tail scattered us. 20 years ago we lived in the same world. We watched the same TV shows, read the same newspapers, laughed at the same cultural references. It was sometimes stifling, but there was a shared language, a collective context that gave us something in common. Then the internet gave us everything. We were no longer limited by what was in our local library or what a TV guide offered. The long tail of the internet let us bathe in our individual obsessions, and slowly we built up our confidence and started exploring the endless possibilities of who we could be. And for a while it felt like freedom, but something shifted. At first our digital lives were shaped by people we actually knew, real friends, family, classmates. We poked each other on Facebook, shared daft jokes, and felt like we cracked the code of what the internet could be. And then they invented the feed. The feed corroded it all. It moved our friends to the margins and inundated us with ads, outrage, and algorithm-driven detritus. The platform we once used to connect changed to places designed to hold our attention and exploit our insecurities. Why we're all tired and lost. The spaces that once felt personal and meaningful now feel alien, hostile. Where we used to go online to connect, now we go to perform, to posture, to numb ourselves. And slowly, it's evolved to reflect the worst of us, our fears, our biases, our darkest impulses. We've grown lonelier, not just because our feeds are rubbish, but because we've lost the common ground that made connection easy. The internet promised individuality, but left us fractured and isolated, each of us scrolling through our own hyper-personalized cages. And we all know it. Yes, we do. We know it isn't working, but we're stuck, scrolling through the same and shifting sludge, unsure how to find our way back. Finally, the way out. The internet, as it exists today, thrives on our misery, but we don't have to keep feeding it. We can start small, we can put down our phones, talk to a stranger, strike up a conversation with our neighbour, rebuild the connections we've lost, one awkward human moment at a time. And we should again, like kids on a playground, find the courage to say to someone, "I'd like to be your friend." It's only by being open that we'll reclaim what shitifaction took from us, the simple joy of being together. I found that completely by fluke, and I absolutely love that. I love the word shitifaction. I'm going to use that all the time, but it's true. The internet was a great tool. It's a cesspit now. It's not to say that there's not positive things of the internet that we can still use. It's a tool at the end of the day, and every tool has its uses. But unless it's some sort of Swiss Army knife type internet, it's not going to do everything. those human connections we still need. Surely if COVID and the lockdowns taught us anything, it's how much we actually like people. How much we actually miss touching grass and having those conversations with people, having that personal connection, that care for one another. Rather than just arguing with some bloody stranger about something that, in the grand scheme of things, you might feel bad about something, but does that affect your personal day-to-day life? That's not to say you shouldn't care. But is it worth arguing with someone about? And I'm not trying to get political on any side, because all I care about is men's mental health is a big one, obviously, because it's something I talk about, but also the well-being of my family, well-being of my friends, the people who I actually genuinely love from the bottom of my heart. And also care about trying to be the best version of myself I can be, to try and help other people around me. Not because I want to be praised or anything, but because these are people I care about. Social media can be a tool for good, but there's a reason I call it anti-social media, because to me that's what it's become, and it's a cesspit, and I will use it because it's addictive, but I use it sparingly, and I try to not let it rile me up. It still does sometimes, and when it does, I say, right, phone off, go and play with the kids or watch a football. Maybe I need a shit. Maybe I'll go and do that rather than this. Whatever it may be, I don't get to. The internet is not real life. Real life is out there for living. I'm wrap up here now and just remember shitification or whatever it was. I've bloody forgotten the word now. Anyway, still watch it. Thank you so much. Like, subscribe, hit notification bell. Leave a comment below, and once you've done that, get the hell off social media for a little while. Make sure you hit subscribe so next time a video comes out, come back and watch me. You know what I mean? Cheers. Thank you for watching, and keep smiling. Keep trying to make yourself a better version of you, and not compare yourself to other people. Compare yourself to you, and try and make those baby steps to improve. So until next time, I'll see you later.